Next up, we have Harry O'Crowley, SDG advocate and Nave Olaf GA Club. Harry will be discussing sustainable development goals, framework for change.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Harry O'Crowley. I'm with Nave Olaf GA Club. I'm former chairman up there, and I'm involved with the current executive in the whole area of greening our impact on the Sandyford Business District, and maybe overall how that might affect the district itself. I suppose, what are the Sustainable Development Goals? Well, what better way than just to give you a very short introduction. This is from UNICEF, and I'll give you a short run through on what it's all about. So hopefully the clicker will work, and there you go.
Global goals are fulfilled by 2030, life on Earth will be better for everyone. So what are these goals? Eliminate poverty in all its forms. No hunger. Everyone should have safe, nutritious, and sufficient food. Everyone has equal access to healthcare, thus ensuring our well-being and a healthy life. Equal access to a quality education. Ensure gender equality where women and girls have the same opportunities as men and boys. By achieving these goals, each member of our society will be equal, safe, and happy. UN global goals also include access to safe drinking water and sanitation, access to clean energy that is safe for people and the environment, sustainable and stable economic growth. Everyone has a decent job, strong infrastructure, and the support of innovations. Lower inequality within and among countries. Cities and settlements be developed without damaging the environment and people. Achieving these goals will result in the well-being of people and our planet. We can further take care of our environment with the following goals: sustainable and safe production and consumption of products. Take urgent measures to reduce climate change and its impact. Ensure the sustainable use and protection of ocean and sea resources. Restore and protect Earth's ecosystems. By achieving these goals, we will form a society where strong institutions ensure peace and justice. It is important for everyone to be involved and to build partnerships for achieving sustainable development goals. You are part of this process. Demand the implementation of these goals. Take the lead and share information with your friends.
So that's a very quick run through about what the UN Sustainable Development Goals are about. Ireland has had a significant role to play in this. I mean, these were rolled out in 2015, but our ambassador was one of the co-rapporteurs for the SDGs, and to that extent, we have, I suppose, we have skin in the game as a nation, and even though it was done at a UN multilateral level, the SDGs, they apply to everybody. They apply to every country. They apply to every region. They are, getting down to community level and like SBD, or getting down to company level, and even down to individual level. They apply to equally to everybody. You will have heard of the 2030 agenda, which the core, I suppose, deliverable on those is the SDGs, of which there's 17. There's 169 defined targets and so many other indicators. But I suppose really what it does is it shows that crossover, that Venn diagram of economic and social and environmental sustainability are core to the overall sustainable development. I just move on to the next slide there. Yeah, so to put it in context, they call it the 5 Ps, and it's where the nexus of the 5 Ps, it's people and planet, peace and partnership and prosperity. So all of the dimensions, all of the pillars of sustainability are equally recognised as being important. So it's not just, being a strong advocate for environmental sustainability and at the expense of economic growth and development. It's not about driving your business very hard and having significant economic progress at the expense of your people and the communities in which you live. So the 5 Ps really indicate where we're, if you can put in those context and keep those in the back of your mind, each of these 17 goals, they're intertwined, they're interlinked, they impact all of them. So let's get to the chase in terms of your business, and I would say, why would you align your business? What's the benefit of aligning your business to the SDGs? Well, the bottom line is that you can call them SDGs, you can call them your CSR, your environmental considerations, whatever measures you want to call them, it doesn't really matter. But what you're essentially doing is that your operations, you're focusing what you do on a daily basis through the lens of sustainability. And that drives your innovation. It increases the trust from your stakeholders, your internal and external clients. It makes what you do at a leadership role much better. And more importantly, in an increasing transparent and visible world, it shows to your public and your stakeholders and what you're doing. And I would maintain, and it is the view, that the SDGs provide this roadmap, this clear roadmap, how you can manage those 3 pillars of sustainability to I suppose, to protect our planet, our society, and our economy. And core to all of that is SDG 17, which is all about partnerships and collaboration. Whereas, as I mentioned earlier, it does apply equally to every one of us individually, in a group, as a company, as a region, as a nation. Without cooperating and working with each other at whatever level we work on, we're not going to get these sustainable goals over the line. So I suppose the business case, let's really get into the business, the core reason why you as business people in the Sandyford Business District and further afield would look for, would embrace sustainability and, importantly, embrace the SDGs. And we live in an increasingly transparent world, and there are rising expectations from stakeholders of our companies to act responsibly and to act sustainably. Sustainability is mainstream now. This is not a quirky, thing from the environmental sector. This is mainstream, and investors and stakeholders are seeking expanded reporting, of what you're doing on a social and an environmental engagement on an annual basis. And the reality of it is that profits and purpose are inextricably linked, and as a consequence, we should always look through those lenses. And businesses have a responsibility to their stakeholders. They impact not just to their bottom line, and it's where you live. And Sandyford Business District is a really clear example of that. It is not just the old Sandyford industrial estate. It is not a wide open, sparse area of fields and farmland that, when I grew up in Lakelands, that's what I remember of being. It's now a vibrant area where people are working, people are living, and through Naomh Olaf GAA Club, for example, which I would say is the lungs of the business district, people are playing games and socialising. So there is a significant reason why your business should embrace all of these things. Arthur Guinness, when he set up James's Gate Brewery in 1756, he instituted the values of caring for employees by providing houses and healthcare facilities. And caring for your employees is something that businesses should take on board, because if your employees are healthy in both mind and in body, your businesses are going to be healthy. That's the link. But moreover than that, the business leaders' priorities must align with a broader societal impact to attract the new generation of talent that's coming through. And the reason being is that employees are choosing to work based on sustainability agendas of companies. So there is a clear rationale for engaging with your employees and aligning it with a broader environmental and sustainable agenda. And of course, why else do you have your customers and the general public that you impact upon and your stakeholders? And the bottom line is that there is an increasing demand from your customer base, and there's an increasing demand from the wider general public that companies are seen to be green, inverted commas, or environmentally sound. And the SDGs, it's not a vehicle to greenwash. It's not a vehicle to SDG wash, if you wanted to say it in those kind of terms. It's a roadmap to make positive impact on your company and how it engages with the community in which it resides. This wheel, I suppose, trying to give those linkages. It's from a Swedish university, but I think it really gives a clear indication of how everything links together. There's the SDGs that are the ones that are bound around in the environmental piece, our climate, our planetary boundaries. The middle wheel that fits into that is those ones that really talk about society and the social sustainability, from education to clean water to gender balance. And then the third wheel fits into the middle is the economic drivers for economic growth and infrastructure and sustainable cities and economies. And the cherry on the cake, as I mentioned at the start, is this whole piece about collaboration and partnership. They are inextricably linked, all of the SDGs, but there is a hierarchy that without collaboration, these things really, really won't happen. So in terms of the SDGs, I'd like to kind of give you a couple of maybe one or two different ideas on how on a daily basis you might be able to engage with the SDGs. And they are grouped, but this is not corny. This is not meant to be kind of superficial. It's just an idea on how actions that you might that you can take at an individual and at a company level on a daily basis. So SDG 1 is on no poverty. So I would say become familiar with the actors that are in your supply chain. Have an idea of the practices that they might engage and where they're sourcing their material, and support sustainable trade. It's as simple as that. In terms of zero hunger, we always think about the zero hunger and SDG 2 in terms of the global south and the developing world. But it also, there's food poverty in Ireland. There's a whole lot of people there's a whole lot of issues around nutrition and malnutrition. And what I would say is support your local farmers and buy your food at farmers markets. It's as simple as that. And that's a bit of a plug for Nave Olaf. We have a very good organic farmers market every Friday in the club grounds in the district. So why not try up and come up and see what you can do there. Good health and well-being cannot be overstated, the importance of this. It has a huge impact on your business. It has a huge impact on yourself and your families. What I would say to you is make time for yourself, make time for your friends, and make time for your family, because ultimately that will all filter down into the way you run your business. In terms of quality education and how it fits into into the business context, be a mentor. Share skills with someone who needs them. Put your arm around somebody who's coming in new and give them an idea on how things might be able to do. They can do things better. And I suppose in the context of mentorship and somebody starting as a young person coming from school or a new graduate. It's always nice to have somebody to tell them this is the way things might be done, and give them the support that they might need. And finally, in this particular set, gender equality. And of course, the gender equality movement is well established and it's enabled in law. But be conscious of gender representation in the workplace, and in particular in your leadership teams, because why would you, if you put it in a footballing context and particularly say from the Evola perspective, and if you had mixed teams, why would you leave half your talent on the bench? It doesn't make sense. So in terms of gender equality, just be conscious of it. I'm sure you're all doing that anyway. In the next grouping, we're talking about SDGs 6, 7, and 8, and how do they impact on your business as well? For very simple actions that you might be able to deploy fairly quickly. Don't dispose of toxic liquids down the drain. I mean, it could be as simple as that, because ultimately it ends up polluting our lakes and rivers. Affordable energy and clean energy in SDG 7. Well, if you haven't already done it, please consider changing all your lighting to LEDs. And if you really have the capacity to do it and the roof space, consider installing solar panels to generate clean energy. And in terms of decent work and economic growth, just make sure that you're working in conditions and that are safe, and within that there are healthy work environments that are being that you as leaders are instilling. So in terms of the next one, so these group of ones are really important, and this is where it comes core to your businesses and really where we're at. So in terms of innovation, and this is Innovation Week, be champions of research and innovation in the sector that you are working in. Be brave and courageous in embracing new methodologies that are efficient and in terms of use of your resources. Reduced inequalities can cover everything. So what I would say is, in terms of an immediate action, learn to respect all kinds of people who do things differently to you, or who have a different view on how something might be rolled out. Just listen and take on board, because ultimately, all the views in the pot make throw everything on the table, and we can get things better done. Number 11, SDG 11, and this is really important, sustainable cities and communities. This is why we're here today. This is why Innovation Week, this is why Sandyford Business Districts is so important. So I would say to you, engage your business in actions to make your community more green, environmentally sound, and that just manages its resources carefully. And in terms of responsible consumption and production, keep your supply chains short, eat and shop locally, and support associations committed to fair trade. It's not just in Ireland, it's in the global south as well. So I would say to you, these are things that we should be cognizant of. In terms of the next slide, which is on, if I can get it moved on, sorry. Yes, we got too far there. We'll go back one. Yeah, in terms of climate action, life on water, and life on land, I suppose these are what they would call the environmental SDGs. But how you link them to your businesses? Well, maintain your business cars and vans and lorries. Just reduce their emissions if you can. If at all possible, go electric. But that's idealistic at this stage without the support measures in place and in terms of charging points and whatnot. I would ask you to reduce or consider reducing the plastic products that you use in your business operations. At the end of the day, only 30% of plastic is recycled, and surveys will tell you that 3% of all plastics end up in the oceans, and that is, that's not sustainable for all of us. let alone the biodiversity of our marine life. And in terms of life on land, my day job is with the Department of Agriculture. But in terms of businesses, how about using an integrated waste management strategy where you separate your management out? You may already be doing this. Use recycled paper, inks, all that kind of stuff. Go paperless where possible. They are really simple kind of measures that you can be taking. But in the whole, if we're all doing them, we can get a little bit of movement. And then in terms then of the last two SDGs, which are 16 and 17, I suppose these are probably the two of the most important to understand without anything really to hang a hook off. But in terms of SDG 16, it goes back to the early ones as well, and be respectful in how you deal with others on your day-to-day, whether it's your customers, your employees, your suppliers, and the people that you meet in the queue for having your lunch. And also when you're being resolute in your position and standing up for what you believe in, you can do it in a particular respectful way. And finally, then the most innocuous but the most important of all is the Partnership for Goals. And really, this is the one that without cooperation, without partnership, without working at an individual level, in a small group, but in an office, in a company, in a community, as a nation, or in a multilateral way, we will not be able to get things done. And I suppose in terms of the takeaway line is that together is all together, working together, and we can make the SDGs a reality. And I suppose we're just coming out of COP, and we hear all about India and China rowing back on emissions and all of this kind of stuff. And it does put pressure on people to say, well, why should I do it? Well, the reason why we do it is because we can. And that's really what I would ask you to do, is to consider on your day-to-day work, embrace the SDGs. There are 17 of them. They're important. They're interlinked. They're intertwined. Some of them, pull against another. That's the nature of the SDGs. But I would just say, in terms of a final thing, is that there are 9 years left of the SDGs, and we can make a big change if we as a collective unit, as individuals and as a community, business community, pull together on it. Putting in the context of the global south, there are 9 harvests left before things change. And so, while we think it's challenging for us, the challenges can be more extreme elsewhere. The Department of Climate Action, or Environment, Communications and Climate, will be kicking off a new round of their SDG champions in the coming year. And this is something that I would really like to see SBD and the individual companies embrace, to become a leader, to become, to be hoisted above others, to say, look, this is how it can be done. This is the way people embrace the Sustainable Development Goals in their day-to-day work. As a community, and with Naomh Olaf GA Club, we have the ambition to do so, and we have a very ambitious green strategy coming down the tracks in the new year, and it's a fundamental part of the business district that we're in. And and Chairman John Summers is on the board of SBD, and it's a very important link for us. Sandyford Business Districts is uniquely poised to take the Sustainable Development Goals and deploy them and implement them, because, as I said, it is an area where we have people working, we have people living, and we have people playing. And if you keep the SDGs as a framework, albeit maybe as a watermark into what you're doing, I think we'll be all the better for it. So just to say thank you for listening. If you want to check out more on Sustainable Development Goals, you can go to the UN site there, or similarly go to gov.ie, where there's a whole thing about how a whole of government approach to the rollout of the SDGs. And I'll leave you with that, and thank you very much for listening.
Harry Crowley, thank you very much. That was very interesting. And Sustainable Development Goals, I think, are essential for businesses going forward. They'll have an impact on many things, especially the attraction of potential future employees and also business partnerships. So they're well worth a look and investigation.